Photoshop Classroom in a Book, Chapter 11. This is Part B. We just changed the length of the clip for the family photo down from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. Shortening a video clip does not compress it. What it does is remove a part of the clip from the video. In this case, we want to use the first 3 seconds of each clip. If you wanted to use a different portion of a video clip, you could shorten the clip from each end. As you drag the end point of a video clip, Photoshop displays a preview so you can see which part of the clip is going to be included. We are going to change each one of these clips to 3 seconds. You could, therefore, if you wanted to, take the boat ride clip, and if I wanted to shorten 1 second off of this at the front, I could drag this down, and you can see how I'm changing this. Now I've got a different starting point, so I still only want 3 seconds of this clip, so again I'm going to drag this down, and you can see how many seconds I'm taking off, all the way to 6 seconds, which I needed to just change my timeline so I could see what I was doing. But a little bit more to take it to 6. And you can actually see up in the top corner of the video that it's going to end. That's at 5 seconds on the 29 frame. And if I try to juggle that a little bit better, I need to expand a little bit more on my view so I can really get this on the boat ride. So I can get this lined up right at 6 seconds. Come on. 6:01. It's being really difficult for me. There. I'm actually going a hair over. I don't have this quite long enough so I can get it frame by frame by frame. Oh, I see the problem. This one is going over just a second too far, which is going to make that a little harder. There, it's right at 6, so I'm good now. Next, we're going to do the same thing to the dog on the beach. Let me find the end of that, and I'll drag that down. And you can see the icons change in the corner so that you can tell exactly how long each segment of the video is. I'm still at 9 seconds on here there. And if you don't expand out this far, it'll take you a much shorter time to do this. Same thing for number 4. Number 5. Didn't grab that right. There. Now everything is of the correct duration. Each one of those clips is up for 3 seconds. But some of the images, if we scroll through and look at these, some of the images are just completely of the wrong size. So we're going to have to do some changing on that. Select the first layer, which is family. And you should end up with that clip selected. There it is. Click the triangle in the upper right corner of the family clip in the timeline panel. That's going to open the motion panel. Select Pan and Zoom and make sure Resize to Fill Canvas is selected, and then click in an empty part of the timeline to close that panel. The image is going to resize to fit the canvas. We don't really want to do the pan and zoom because right now that does this. We just wanted the right size. Open the motion panel again and choose No Motion, and that removed the effect. This is a good place to save your file. Next, we're going to animate some text, and we'll use keyframes to do that. Keyframes let you control animation and effects and other changes over time. A keyframe marks the point in time where you specify a value, like the position or the size, and you change that over time, so you put in a second keyframe that has the state at the end. The program will then interpolate the values for the positions in between so that you get a smooth change over a specified amount of time. We're going to use keyframes to animate the movie title from left to right over the opening image. We're going to add some video, so we need to add another track. Go to Video Group 1, and we're going to click on the video pop-up menu and select New Video Group. Puts another line in right above. Before we put in our text, I would like to go up to View, and I'm going to turn on my guides. What I have that came up are my guides for title safe areas, action safe and title safe. On a typical television screen or movie screen, the inner guides indicate a title safe area. The outer guides indicate a motion safe area. That means that anything within those guides are going to be seen definitely on a television or movie screen. This out here is not quite a margin, but it's always possible that something that's out in that outer area might be dropped off of either a television or a movie screen. So we try to keep our text within the inner boundaries. What we're going to do next is add some text now that we have our Video Group 2 layer. And now that we have our title safe areas, we're going to also know what parts are going to be visible. Select your horizontal text tool. Click on the left edge of the image, about halfway down from the top. Photoshop adds a new layer in your stack that is layer 1 in Video Group 2, and we're ready to start typing. Before you do, however, you might want to select a sans serif font. They chose Myriad Pro, but you can use anything that you like that is on your machine. I think I'll use this text. Set the type size to about 600 points. You're going to have to type that in because there is no drop down for 600 points. Make your text left aligned so it will type across the video, and make the color white. Type in Beach Day. The text is large enough so that it doesn't all fit on the image. We're going to animate it so that it moves across the screen. In your Layers panel, change the opacity down to 25% so it's really a screen going over it. In the Timeline panel, drag the endpoint of that type layer back to 3 seconds so it's the same as the family film clip. Click the arrow next to the thumbnail in Beach Day to display the clip's attributes. Make sure that your playhead is at the beginning, and you're going to click the stopwatch next to the transform property to set your initial keyframe. The keyframe appears as a yellow diamond in the timeline. Select your Move tool and use it to drag the type layer over the canvas so that the top of the letters line up with the lower of the two top guidelines, and to the right so that only the left edge of the B is visible on the canvas. There. Now move your playhead to the last frame of the first clip. There we go. Press the Shift key and click and drag the type layer to the left so that it stays in a straight line. Oh, went too far before I let go. You'll have to be careful about that. You only want the very edge of the Y visible. Holding your Shift key makes sure that the type stays level as you move it. We've changed the position, and so Photoshop adds a keyframe. If you scrub your playhead across those first 3 seconds, you'll see how that text is going to move across the screen. Click the triangle next to the thumbnail of the text clip to close the clip's attributes and save. One of the benefits of working with video in Photoshop is that you can create effects using adjustment layers and styles and simple transformations. You've used adjustment layers with still images in the book, and they work just as well on video clips. When you apply an adjustment layer in a video group, Photoshop applies it only to the layer immediately below it in the Layers panel. Now you're going to select Dogs at the Beach. In the Timeline panel, you're going to move the playhead to the beginning of the Dog at Beach layer so you can see the effect as you apply it. You can scroll over a little bit if you'd like to. In the Adjustments panel, you're going to click the black and white button. In the Properties panel, you can leave the default preset and select Tint. The default creates a sepia effect, and that will work just fine, but you can experiment with any of the sliders and you can tint the color to modify it to something that you would prefer. If you'd like to change the tint, you can do that just as easily. And then move the playhead across the Dog at Beach clip in the Timeline panel to preview the effect.